Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful LCA podcast. Mindful LCA. Today we're going to talk about one of my struggles going on. It's been kind of like sort of a heavy week for me. A couple of days, I want to say. I think I usually like either figure out a solution or make peace of something, and this one has been kind of like more of a struggle for me. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. How are you doing today, Norma?
I'm running on a high, a runner's high. I just came back from a 9 mile run, so I'm good, but I'm tired because I also only slept like 3 hours. But life's good. I'm chilling. I'm I'm just I'm high. How are you?
Good. I'm feeling a little bit better than the last couple of days. I was struggling a little bit, like I was telling you, and like very like sentimental and emotional for a couple of times. Where like I think I've probably
Hmm.
like cried like I don't know 5 6 times just out of frustration or whatever.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's been tough. It's had to do like with the whole thing that we talked about before, like the financial stuff. Some like expense came up and shit like that. That like now it has me like really struggling with that part. And yeah, I thought about it or I meditated. Some things came up, looked within at what I was feeling, and I think the main concern or main issue that I have or was coming up for me was the not being understood. Was to reach out for help and to just be told, "Oh, it's because you're not working hard enough. It's because you're not doing enough. Oh, did you do this? Have you done that? And whatever." Because I mean, I uh, I'm aware of all the how the cards are stacked against all of us, right? Majority of
Mhm.
us. Um, just like how much we have to work to just even begin to make a living and shit like that. And that was like the thing that I was telling my wife yesterday on our drive over here. Um, I I'm struggling to make peace with the fact that I have to possibly join the workforce and the complaining shit of like complaining about my life on an everyday basis and complain about my job and complain about my commute and complain about my workers, co-workers that everybody fucking has and complains about. Um, and honestly just feel like lost, like I lost in a way, or like the system has forced me to get into this kind of situation again, where I'm like, okay, what the fuck, you know? Like it's
Mhm.
troublesome in that part of the both of the things, of having to make peace with that of what I have to do to just make a living, and it shouldn't be this hard, and I shouldn't have to have um uh, 3 4 fucking sources of income to be able to just barely make a living. And
Yeah.
the but what comes out of that stuff, right? Like the lack of availability now for um, my daughters, for having to also have somebody else take care of them. And I'm thinking like, well, yeah, I get a regular job, and now it would require like maybe put them in either before or after school, because who's gonna be able to pick them up or like work within that time zone. But that's one of them, I think. So to go into more detail, I think the other one is what really came up for me was the concern of not having understanding and also doubting whether people would show up for me, like doubting whether I can count on people. Uh,
Mhm.
that was literally the toughest thing, because I'm like, well, just to be more open about how I feel or what was coming out from me. Like any sign of you complaining, or I hear anything about you not wanting to help with the girls, or not wanting any friction of you being uncomfortable because of me or my family, and I'm like, I back away and I don't ask for shit anymore. Like I don't yeah, like it affects me that part, for there to be little things said or shit that I hear or things like that, that is like, oh well, if you can't even do that, um how am I supposed to count on you for like the other tougher stuff, or to have you possibly take me and the my family in? You know, that's kind of like been the tough part. Because usually when that happens and like there's uh like I'm telling you, a complaint, rejection, then I tend to back away, and I tend to like not want to bother or bug or lean into that thing anymore, because you're like, oh yeah, I don't, for whatever reason, you know. Tend to be more direct. Some people in my family have like said like, oh yeah, I don't want to watch him anymore. I can't help you. It's too stressful or whatever the fuck. So then be able to count on those people to help me in this situation is what's kind of like stressful. And in that way, it's like leads to that feeling, like I tell you, of being like judged or misunderstood or whatever. That's like the thing, and it has come from both sides of the family. Some kind of rejection, some kind of like little comment, little thing here and there, that I'm like, oh, that maybe they feel like they have to, but they don't necessarily want to help out. And that's been like the struggling part, because I would like to think any, like it wouldn't even be a hesitation if it was the other way. Like it wouldn't even be a question.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wouldn't even be a thing. Like we'll figure it out. And I'll move all. If it was the other way around, I think I'll move my entire family into one room and take as many people as I could to help them out and to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the shit that I doubt and I question whether that's being like reciprocated, or that's even a thought that goes through other people's head.
Hmm.
That's the Yeah. That's the thing that I, when I was already like super feeling super emotional and crying, like that's the thing that came up, of being uh being scared that they won't show up for me, that I will be a burden, that um yeah, like the idea, for some reason I struggle a lot with the idea of like, it might be still like, I look at it and I wonder if it's still my lack of being vulnerable enough to ask for help that is telling me this. um but maybe there's a reason why I'm like that at the same time, like why I have this kind of feeling for some reason,
Well, I think both can be true.
you know.
I think it could be like the negative self-belief of like maybe people are not going to show up for me, or like I am going to be a burden, and it can still be like because of past experiences where maybe people have not shown up for me. Like that's why I'm not doing it. So I definitely think it can be both.
Yeah.
Um Now, like you're saying, like my concern is more of like people judging me or people rejecting me. Um you're Did you already experience that, or is that like something that you're fearing even before you've asked?
There's been other conversations where I've kind of hinted at it. So this is nothing new, right? Like I'm very aware, because like I was telling in other episodes, like I know finances. I worked in my own finances and I learned a lot. I spent like 2 years obsessed with finances, and I do that. So I knew this day or this situation was coming, and that
Mhm.
It's almost nearly impossible for just two people to have two incomes or one and a half incomes, if you want to call it with the pictures for now, to be able to maintain a fucking household. Like that's almost like such a rarity, and like a lot of people live with other people just to make ends meet, or to be to not even to make ends meet, but just to be comfortable, which we haven't been in a while, like like as it used to be in the past, where I can afford to buy things or go out or do whatever the fuck. It's been like that, but that's been partly in that case has been my choice also, and it's been like something that I know that I want to do and be aware of how much that is, and then as a way to appreciate those smaller things, and to try to find happiness within myself and not dependent on anybody else, and to also teach and work with my own immediate family, my wife and my daughters, to kind of work on that thing, and being aware of like all those things don't lead to ultimate like real happiness. They'll make you happy for a few moments or a few days or whatever it might be, but they don't lead to that stuff. So this conversation has happened already. I believe last summer I had a conversation with one side of the family, or both actually, both sides of the family, that shit was getting tough, and possibility of moving in with either of them, and neither of them like took I didn't feel like I didn't get, hey, don't worry about it, we're family, if you ever need it, like we're here, I'll help you out, you can come in here, whatever the fuck. Like I didn't get that from either side. You get me? Like it wasn't like don't worry about it, don't struggle, like that. So that's the shit that, like, I guess that's the honestly that's the more painful part, that I feel like I have to be more open, more direct, and maybe it's also the expectation
Yeah.
of getting, of wanting and getting that. Like I shouldn't have to formally be like, hello, like like, are you not paying attention to the shit? Like we talked about this multiple times, and you're aware, and this hasn't been offered yet. That is the more hurtful side. And
Do you think if you overtly asked, they would
I think they
be
would.
like,
I think
"Yeah,
they
we got
will.
you"?
I think they will, but I perceive it, and I could be wrong, as in like the fact that I have to be so direct and have to give you like almost no option, then you have no option to say no. Like I would say, like if I was in the other, like I said, I think if I was in the other situation, and anybody from like my family or even close friends was to even insinuate anything, I'd just be like, hey, I'm fucking worried about it, bro. Like we'll figure it out. Like I'm here for you. If you ever need to come in here for whatever to get your shit up, like I would do it. But that, like I'm telling you, I didn't get that. So it's just kind of, I guess, I perceive it as, or I'm having some kind of pain in the fact that I have to be so direct, when I already hinted at it multiple times that like this shit wasn't working out. And I try to give, I try to have understanding and empathy for those people, because I understand they don't have that, they're not as aware, or they're not as understanding, or they don't have the ability to be able to see the signs like I'm able to see the signs in other people, that we talked about a lot. Whatever that is, like
Yeah.
be more mindful or be more observative of what people are trying to tell you and not necessarily tell you directly. But that I'm concerned that I would be fucking, that I'm concerned that I will be homeless, like no. They, both of the families will take me in when I ask directly. And the only thing I know why, is because I've asked myself, and I talked to both of the clients, or the guys that I talk to, are struggling financially as well. And what I told them is like, bro, like when are you gonna stop helping your kids? When? They both have kids. It's like when are your kids gonna be old enough for you to be like, nah, fuck you, you're on your own? Like never. Like there was never gonna be a
Never.
time that like my daughters are gonna come for me to whatever reason, be like, nah, go fuck yourself. So like I know that both of the sides of the family are like, are good in that way, where they won't let us.
Mhm.
I'm just struggling more, and that's honestly what I want. Maybe to ask you directly what I want from the conversation, is to shed some light on something that I'm not seeing, or maybe my yeah, like why am I struggling with this? Is there something that I'm doing wrong? Is there some kind of way that I need to adjust my perspective or all that stuff, or is it just the fact that I'm expecting them to be more mindful of what's going on or whatever? That I like I said, it would have been so much nicer to just get that, like, nah, don't worry. Even though I think in both of the sites, in both of the situations, they're also struggling financially, but they don't talk about it. You know, that they don't.
Okay.
Hit me because I saw you get excited a little bit ago with your reaction and the leaning back in the fucking chair. Tell me, tell me, because that's what I want.
When we first talked, for those of you who don't know what goes on behind the scenes, we tried to record this episode once, and then my internet was being shit. So, um, we we kind of talked about it off the air. So I'm like, I kind of like have some background, and at from the initial conversation, I had thought that what you were struggling with was the actual financial portion of it.
There's two things. Those That's
Like
true
that
too.
was okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's two parts.
Right now, the way you presented it
Mhm.
was like my my concern is like how people would react to me asking for help,
Mhm.
because you're saying like even like financially, like you knew that this was gonna happen, like you kind of like it was already like coming type of thing, right? And you're saying like it's more the concern is more of like how people are gonna respond to me like asking for help. um and you're saying we've had this conversation, I've hinted at it, and neither side of the family has been like, yeah, yo, like no problem, come over and then we got you. My question to you would be, because you're saying I know that if I directly ask, they will like neither one of us is going to be like, nah, go fuck yourself, you're going to be homeless. um if they were to say it without you directly asking for it, what would that mean for you?
If they were to tell me ahead of time or whenever that conversation was, for me not to worry, that I'm welcome to come in or whenever I'm struggling, that would,
Help me understand the difference between you asking directly and you not asking directly. Because if you ask directly, you're saying, I'm pretty sure they'll take me in.
it's the expectation that they should be more aware. You, the other thing that comes up, that came up at the same time, that goes together, is when, and this could be more of the deeper stuff, I guess. When am I gonna get the text of how are you doing?
So you want to be cared for.
When?
So you want to be cared for. Okay. You want somebody to show up for you the way you've shown up for other people. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. And right now, as it's like coming up, that this part that wants to be cared for, I would invite you to tap in. Tap in and ask yourself, what version of myself is this? that has been yearning to be cared for.
Yeah,
And what is that little one needing?
yeah. I did. At some point throughout the past days, I did think about that, and I did have like a flashback or something to my childhood with some resentment. It did
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah. Is that showing up right now?
When you said that thing of like needing to be taken care of, like yeah,
Yeah. What does he need right now? How can we care for him right here, right now? And that may even look like actually giving him the voice. Because maybe he didn't have it before, he couldn't speak up and ask. So maybe even starting with that, letting him know, like, hey, it is okay for you to ask for what you need. You deserve to be taken care of. It is now safe to ask for help. And there are people within our community that are willing to do that.
yeah, that's funny.
Hmm?
I said that's funny. Thing that came up was like, oh yeah, it's the well, the thought that came up right now is the pressure of again that we've talked about just in the last episode of like the provider, right?
Yeah.
Like of
Yeah.
somehow I failed or I'm a failure because of being unable to take care of that stuff and
Hmm.
being judged and all that stuff.
Yeah. But it's that little kid, right? That's it's that little kid who was given this expectation of it is your job to take care of the person that's supposed to take care of you. Somehow, some way was your job to even provide for them emotionally.
Yeah,
So it could also be that part right now showing up of like, I'm not providing. I'm not doing the thing that I've been assigned to do, that I've been burdened with. And remind him that it is not his job to take care of other people emotionally, and that it is okay for him to be taken care of. And that even as an adult now, he is providing in different ways, not just financially. There are so many other ways that he has been a provider.
I, yeah, 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 that's true. Because you know what I've been noticing too is like how
Wait, hold on. Before you
no,
get out of that,
I don't want to like it's going to the same thing of like it goes along I think with the same reason of like how alone I'm used to being. Like
mm,
it's been like coming up a lot more
mhm,
recently. Like I told you, struggling to connect with the girls or even with Celia, like how I'm so used to being on my own
yeah,
and being okay with that. Um,
Yeah.
So now it's like, now I'm going in that thing. I think it goes together, right? Because of that thing
Hmm.
of asking for help and all that stuff. But now I'm like in the painful part of that cycle of like now realizing how much I still live um, on my own.
Yeah.
I'm still how much I like as much as I say it with certain things. I'm so open, and right now this is a sign of like how open I am when I'm struggling with something. But I think it has to do with you and like the safe space of the podcast and shit. But
Yeah.
I still shut down. Like I feel
Yeah.
a lot, but I still go on my own.
Inward.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like I still just become
And I think,
distant and
that's where your your process, your healing is being geared to, right? Like that's going to be like right now you're meeting potatoes. If right now we're tapping on the wound of needing to be taken care of, and when that comes up, right, then like you go into shutting down when the wound comes up. So right now the work requires from you, and even emotionally, right? You you go in. So then what that would look like now to do something differently is when the wound comes up, you deserve to be taken care of emotionally, being held by your wife, even your girls, and not in a way that your emotions are their responsibility, but more of like, daddy just needs a hug right now. Daddy needs to hear that you love him. I need to hear from you, wife. Celia, tell me, let me know that we'll fucking figure it out. That I'm not alone in this. That's going to be your battle.
I, yeah, and it's definitely that because
Yeah.
I mean we're
Is your wife there with you right now?
no, she went to the store with the girls. I think um
Mm,
it's definitely that because like I said we're very open in this, but I just say exactly. I've been avoiding my dad. I haven't
mm,
seen him in like more than a week, and
mm.
it is that. It's 100% that, and I know that that's what came up for me, and it's the fear of the not showing up for me and not taking care of me and not saying it's okay.
Yeah.
I got you. It's okay. Like that's what it's been keeping me.
Yeah. And I think that that other portion of like actually being taken care of and like financially speaking, right? That's that financial support will be, oh gosh, there's so much to unpack here, hun. And like right now that you're sitting in this discomfort, what does he need? Let's give him what he needs.
It's just love. Just love.
Okay. What does that look like right now? How can we show him that we love him? Right here, right now. How can we show him? We love him.
I just, I mean, I'm in my mind telling him that it's okay, that I will show up for him, that it's okay to
Okay.
struggle, that that I will I'll be there for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is that enough for him right now? Because my assumption is that he's needing something more than just
A hug.
him being told that it's okay. A hug. Mm. Give him a hug. Embrace yourself right now. If we don't have access to somebody right now, you hug yourself. Squeeze yourself right now. We're right here with him. He's not alone. Hmm. Tell him it's safe to feel. Thank him for coming out, for letting us in. And I mean it when I say, like, literally hug yourself. Do it.
I did. I I rub my leg. That's what feels the best. It somehow feels that. I just
Okay.
that's how it shows up for me. Like it's like somehow rubbing my thigh. It's what feels
Okay.
the best in that way.
That's okay. One way that also helps regulating with the nervous system is if you put this hand, your left hand, underneath your armpit and the other one over. That also helps in rocking.
So crazy. The other thing that came up is the rejection of my struggle, the invalidation of talking to people and saying like, nah, it must have been that bad, or somehow you're wrong for reacting the way that you reacted, or for feeling the way you felt, or the way you feel about the situations, and for you to say that your childhood was that fucking traumatic and you're too sensitive, you're overreacting, you're
Yeah. Being told that you're too much.
yeah,
Yeah, we know that. We know how that goes. And again, right? Like, I think for that little kid at some point, like, he needed to not be too much because of the consequences that would mean for him. And I think now it is okay for you to tell him, like, hey, it is okay for you to be too much. Even if everybody else tells you you're being too sensitive, you're being too dramatic, you're being too exaggerating, it's okay. Before we didn't necessarily have a voice, we needed to shrink ourselves. We don't have to do that anymore.
and, and I think it's just also like the fact that everybody was too, they were unavailable because of the shit that they had going on their own.
Yeah.
So it was hard, and that's literally what's coming up again, to be like, well, what if they're too busy with their own shit and they don't understand you, if they don't show up for you, or they're not available for you in that way.
And I think, hon, like literally the name of the podcast, right? Like love, change, and acceptance. And we've talked about acceptance so much. That part of the journey will also be, how do I accept what they are able to give me? Maybe they're not going um, to make themselves available before I ask directly, right? Like I'm going to have to be very like, hey, motherfuckers, I need your help right now. And then be like, all right, cool. And it might land. It might land as, well, they have no option. They can't say no. That's how they. It's very likely that that's gonna land that way because you already said it. And also telling yourself like they are doing the best that they can with what they have, right? You're saying like, yeah, they might also be struggling financially, but they don't talk about it. That's letting you know where they're at on their journey. They're uncomfortable with having those conversations. So they are sure as hell they don't know how to handle it when you openly come and talk about your struggles with finances. They go be like, that's not something we talk about. I'm not comfortable talking about it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And it will be, I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Turning Red, but like how it's about uh it's a movie about like a little girl. I think she is from Chinese descent, I believe. And whenever she gets triggered, she turns into a big red panda. And whenever she experiences any big emotion, like that's when the panda shows up. So as she's like learning to navigate the big panda, how to tame it or not let it come out at the wrong time, um, she she's like getting stressed and she like keeps turning into the panda, and then she like comes back and keeps turning into the panda, um and she's like, all right, calm down, calm down. And then she's like, all right, think of your mom, right? And she starts thinking about her mom, and all the fucking trauma comes up, right? And like when the trauma comes up, just like the panda keeps coming up. Think of like family, right? Like dad, whatever. And just like the panda keeps coming up every time she thinks about it. And it's not until she thinks about her friends and time with her friends, being in community with her friends, that she is able to tame the panda. Anytime that she resorts to her friends, that's when the panda is able to be tamed. One of the biggest lessons from that is, as much as we want our family to be our co-regulators to our nervous system, a lot of times we got to outsource it. We got to outsource it
yeah, yeah.
to our chosen
That's
family.
yeah, and that's part of why, like, I even told Sally at some point, like, I feel alone, and it is that because of how, yeah, that's right on the thing, like how I can't or I don't feel comfortable sharing or being myself or saying I'm struggling with this with certain people. But I knew I was
Yeah.
going to talk about it with you, and I sent a message to a few other of my friends. I was like, hey, this shit's already been longer than I'm used to struggle or uncomfort lasting. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I need, I mean, it's already like such almost like I'm amazed how quickly and the beauty again. I will forever feel like this. The beauty of the fucking pain, as much as a struggle as that is, because not turning
Yeah.
on the intellectual shit, but like what you just did for me instantly makes me thankful that I go through what I go through, so that I'm able to heal and
Hmm.
understand a little bit more.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
that's the beauty of it.
Right.
Like now it's more of like now more work is uncovered, but also
Hmm.
through that process more understanding of self, more self love,
Hmm.
more self empathy and
Hmm.
compassion happens.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
This is literally, and I think like it's so simple yet so hard, right? Because you were saying like, yeah, throughout this week I've cried like maybe 5, 6 times. All right. How many of those was there was somebody there with you? How many of those times did you attend to the inner child?
yeah.
And the power of, because I didn't necessarily do anything.
Just this,
I'm not even there. I'm not even there to be able to give you that hug, right? And still being in community, being like this part of co-regulation, like the difference that that makes,
yeah.
right? It is somebody sitting with you in the pain. That's what causes trauma. It's not the traumatic event, it's not the actual pain, it's being alone in it. So this is literally what healing is. The moment that we sit in our pain and we allow somebody else to sit with us. That's all it is.
Yeah. This is the maybe that would be now. Don't want to jump into that part of it, but like that's what just came up right now. It's like something happened with Mia at school where she was like getting made fun of like by a lot of group of friends. Just happened on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they called us from school at first. Well, we didn't know why. They called us and they said, "Hey, Mia's hyperventilating. Like, come pick her up or come see what the fuck's going on." So it just so happened that Celia had work from home, and yeah, I wasn't editing or shooting or anything, so we just went right away. And then she was hyperventilating, and I told myself, "Okay, Steve, validate, validate, don't shut the fuck up, validate, 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 shut the fuck up." So I just went there and I was like, just hug and just hugged her, and she cried and cried. And then after a little bit, um, where she was breathing like, like fast. After a little bit, I was like, "Hey, let's breathe, like breathe with me, breathe with me." And then that did a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, let's see what the fuck's going on. What's around the room? Like, what do you see? Like, where's the yellow tag? Where's the red bin? Where's the Q-tips?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the heart?" And
Mm-hmm.
that settled down a little bit.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to talk. The teacher asked her, um, and then like, okay. So mind you, like this is the again one of the most proudest shit and the things that I do. I am aware that she also shuts down in times of struggle. So, but we had a conversation 2 weeks before where she was struggling again at school, and I was like, "Baby, like I know maybe I haven't been available for you, but like I want you to know that like talking like helps out, and that I'm trying to be here for you. And if you want to get some help and for me to be able to show up for you, you need to like tell me." eventually what the hell's going on. So then I was like, come on, that day, just to give more feedback, we show up, I start cooking for them, and I'm like, help me cook. And then she opens up and she starts tearing up and starts telling me whatever happened on that day. So then I just sat there, like she was in the chair, and like I kneeled down and I just hugged her and stuff. And then like she felt better, and then I pointed out, like, you see, like you feel better that you shared it just from that part of it. So this time around, this happened, she doesn't want to share it, and I was like, hey, I just want to remind you that whenever you want to share it, like it'll probably be the best so that we're able to help you. Um, and then I goes like, what do you think I'm always talking to mommy? Like I won't shut up. And then Celia was like, yeah, he just talks all the time. And I was like, because I'm trying to make sense of things and I'm trying to like get help from whenever I'm struggling. Um, we took her to get a burger, and on the way back, like she was already way much more like being herself. So I was like, hey, you want to share now
Mhm.
what happened? And then she's like, yeah, I was playing in this race, and since I'm not the fastest, like we lost, and everybody started yelling at me and like making fun of me and like that. And she starts crying, and she goes back through the thing, and this was like 3 blocks away from the house, and she's telling us what happened. And it's like, so then we get to the car, get out the car, I give her a hug, and I said thank you very much for like sharing with me. And then I go, we all have different abilities. I bet you if it was an art contest, you'll fucking beat everybody. Nobody can do what you do when it comes to art and as creative as you are. Some of us have different abilities, some of us have different ones, so it's okay. And um, yeah, so it's funny how that you get what I'm saying. Like I did that for her, not realizing still how much I need that for myself. And I just felt happy to have the awareness to be able to start undoing that damage that I may have caused her by not being available, and like now trying to be more available and have her actually react in a proper way. It just felt like amazing. Yeah, that's that part. The other part was you're right. So it was like a two-part thing. The other part I think is where I have to. I I I feared, which now I don't see as much as a big deal as I did now, that because they don't understand me, it would just become from a place of like judgment, and I have to be like show up with a PowerPoint. And I was like, look, this is economics 101. This is how the government works. This is this. Please pay attention to all of this before you tell me that I need to work harder and that I should have gone to school and that I needed to do this. Like, look, this is all has to do with the shit. Please don't tell me that shit. Uh, yeah, because again, it's just like I told Sele, oh, like I feel and I know I'm different in that way, that I have worked so much on myself and my healing and my stuff, but people just don't do that. They just work on their finances and their working and their shit and all that. So I come from like a completely different perspective, you know. So it feels like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the that was the other part of like I'm afraid that they don't know any of this stuff, so then therefore it's easily again of being judged of like, oh, you're just not doing hard, you're not working hard enough, you're not doing enough, you're not doing this. That's the part that was the second part of it, that I was like, well, they don't, who's gonna be able to understand outside of you and a few friends and Celia this whole part of like, yeah, there's capitalism and you don't want to belong and you pride yourself in being an outcast and doing things a different way, and now you have to accept the part that like, yep, fuck that, like that's still, you can't do that, you can't be yourself again, and you have to turn that shit off and you have to shut it down. I know you shut it down for like 8 years in the past, and now it's coming up again, but now it's kicking your ass again, so shut it down again so you can fucking go ahead over here and be able to provide. Like they won't understand that complexity of any of that and just be like, no, motherfucker, you're just not working hard enough. Like you're just not doing enough
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when this journey can get so isolating, right? Because you are able to see so many more complexities of things and like layers and how the system's designed. And it's hard when people are oblivious or ignorant to that. Um, and it can feel very lonely
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. That's another thing.
Um,
That's another thing. When I was crying, I once again isolated myself and I did the shower thing. Right when I just feel super emotional and I go take a shower. That's my if, like I said, if you ever take me see me do a random shower throughout the day, like that's a big fucking warning. But that also came up was like,
good to know.
why can't you just be why can't you just fit in? Like, I want to stop being different. I want to just fit in and just fucking be this fucking robot and be okay with throwing away 60 years of my life to possibly live 20 at peace with time and no energy and all that shit. Like, why can't you just just shut the fuck up and go to work and complain about traffic and
Yeah.
go to church and do other shit? Why do you have
Yep.
to be like this? Why do you have to be so
Yeah.
different and complicated in that sense? But at the same time,
Yeah.
the funny shit is that most of us are complaining about this shit and have an issue with this, and that's the part that is like, yeah, we all don't like this. Like you like I shared a thing that says you don't hate Mondays, you hate capitalism. It's like everybody's struggling with this shit, but no one sees it, and then just is such a norm to just be in this fucking hamster wheel that leads to nothing. And it's just so hard to like,
Yeah.
it's so hard to be outside of the wheel and then have to get back. Like that's how I explained it to Celia. It's so hard to like step out of the wheel, see that that shit is just you're just going in circles, at least to nothing. And now it's like, fuck, I have to jump into the goddamn wheel
I
again
gotta get jump. I
and get
gotta jump
ready
on
to do
there.
this shit. Like that's the hard part.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I've thought about going. Like seriously, I'm like, well, like if you ever get your papers and it's gonna be hard to convince anybody to move out the country, then you're gonna be here. Then might as well just start going back to school. And even if it takes me however long to get a master's degree to be able to do therapy. Like, well, maybe if it takes me 3 years, the girls will be 18, and I'll be able to provide for them and show up for them in a proper way. Maybe there's some kind of job that I can still get with just a bachelor's in psychology that can do something. Um, even again, even if it's not uh, direct therapist, then with some kind of degree or like hired through a social security number, I found jobs that are like through the undocumented professionals Instagram that they do hire therapists that you don't require a social security number or whatever. So it's more of a sign of like you can't ignore that shit or it's not the right time for you to live this fucking farm chickens and rabbits kind of shit yet. Like that's not probably realistic. So if I'm gonna have to anyway, since might as well just do it in my own terms as much as I can and sign up for school and do that. And instead of saying, well, you gotta have all these things and do that, like no, just apply myself. I know that I'm fucking smart, maybe too fucking smart, so I should be able to knock out more classes per semester than I think that would maybe won't take me that long.
Hmm.
That one is some people to have some.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I was telling Sally. It's like that's the only way to even have a shot, like to even have a chance at some fucking peace and some time for yourself and some kind of like stable income is that. Even though who knows what the fuck's gonna happen, but that's like the only way. It's just so beautiful at the same time how much you get attached to some shit and then the universe is like, nah, go fuck yourself and like go undo this. Oh, really? You want to be like this? You want to define yourself as this? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Get the fuck back over there. Because now I used to say all the time like, nah, girls don't have to go to school. Like what for? Just getting in debt and all this shit. And then literally for the first time in like years, I'm like, oh shit. Like maybe they do.
Maybe
Maybe they do because that's the only chance they'll have at some kind of, again, stability. And even though it'll be them and their partner and their fucking best friend or a community household that they have to fucking live in to be able to make ends meet, like that'll still that still is the best chance I think you can have at it. And it's not even that, because like there's also like it's so complicated, and I just don't want to go on forever here, because I also think like there's jobs for photographers. Like I don't have to go back to school. I just have to go get my fucking residency. And then there's like the NFL was hiring like 70,000 for a fucking part-time photographer to shoot the games and edit them. And I was like, when I saw that job, I was like, oh my fucking god, like that'll be so fucking cool. Like get to take pictures for the NFL to cover games and edit them or do shit. Or there was another remote job that you just get the files and you edit them and you would send them to newspapers and media outlets. And I was like, bro, I can fucking knock that shit out with my eyes closed from all the experience that I have. So either one, but I think so that I don't also at the end of the day have to depend on a company or a 9 to 5 job and all that shit. Like that's still the only way would be like, nah, bitch, just get educated, go fucking get those goddamn degrees, because it look like no one's gonna take you in serious at least without having anything like that. So maybe by being on getting into that fucking journey and actually having a degree that I can actually prove for, because that's unfortunately what the system runs in, right? You ain't shit if you don't have
Hmm.
the actual fucking degree, unless you know something.
Yeah, unless you know somebody, that's true. And none of those jobs that you're talking about, like they, do you have an LLC?
A what?
Do you have an LLC?
Yeah, but they do, but like it's
Yeah.
so I can get hired as a contractor for anything, right? So if the NFL
Hmm.
wanted me to hire as an independent contractor to do that job, they could. But it's so hard through Indeed or ZipRecruiter or anything to explain that to them. Be like, oh, you do know that you can
Mm,
hire me and you will save on taxes. You don't even have to do that. You just fucking have to pay me as a 1099, you know? But yeah, so far what I found um, is like sales, jobs in sales, which
mm.
shout out to all my friends and family that I do sales, but that's just like manipulation of taking as much money as possible, you know? So that kind of goes against who I am and shit like that. But I'll figure it out, and I think it'll put me at peace to just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to school and fucking just knock that shit out and continue to do the pictures and everything. Because the pictures are doing good. It's just taking some time. But yeah, I'll be alright. Not pay attention to that
Yeah.
goddamn that fucking need for all that stuff. And it's, yeah, just once again,
Don't pay attention to
like I
what?
said, I'll pay attention to that wound and that thing of, because I knew there was something there. And this is the part, like you said, of doing something with the pain and doing something with that makes a world of a difference. Because it's funny, I was just talking to Sally this morning about somebody that was like, this shit happened so long ago. Like how are they still, like how could this still affect them if it happened so long ago? And then I was like, oh, it's because they don't address it and they pretend like everything's fine, and it could be years and years and years and the same shit is there. So instead of, which is progress within that thing, right? To be able to be like, oh, I'm gonna talk about it with Norma. I'm gonna message this person. I'm gonna message this person, to sit there and be like, okay, you're struggling. All right, get back to fucking your meditation. Get back to this stuff. Take some time, think, or let's see what comes up once you declutter your mind for a little bit and all that, and paying attention to like, oh, it's painful, some kind of rejection, some kind of shit, and be like, oh, okay, like that's all what makes the a world of a difference, you know. I guess at the same time,
Yes.
um, dealing with
Yes.
that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully my hopefully my
Oof.
clients see it, so they don't think I'm full of shit and when I tell them that I'm constantly working on myself, and I know they do. So if you guys are ended up watching it, you'll see that I wasn't lying about
Yeah. We put in work for sure.
it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no,
Thank you
thank you.
for one, reaching out, two, for being willing to make it public, and for allowing me to be to be in that space, for being willing to sit in that discomfort with me, allowing me in there. And yeah, it's such a privilege. It's such a gift to me to be able to show up for you like this. So thank you so much. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's it for that. Oh, look, right at an hour. I didn't even look at the time.
Right on an hour. Look at us. As if we planned
We're getting
it.
good.
Actually, this is all stage, guys. None of this was real.
Alrighty. As
But
always,
if you
mindful.
can, if you
Huh?
can, go get a hug. If you can
Yeah.
go get a hug,
Yeah, yeah.
an actual hug from somebody. But yes,
I will.
mindfulpodcastliving@gmail.com. If you need anything, let us know. Comments, compliments, complaints, ideas. If you want to be a guest, we are available um, to y'all.
Go to therapy. This
Go to
is
therapy.
one
I'm
more
feeling super
one more
grateful,
of a
super
clear
full.
thing from episode. Do you need? Maybe I'll title of this like "Go to Therapy, motherfuckers." That'll be the title of this episode.
Go to therapy.
All right, remember
No, because then people are not gonna watch it.
for real. All right, so remember, you gotta let go. Let go of
Remember,
this ideas of you being outside the system. Let go of all these fucking things and accept it. Sometimes you gotta go. Let go in order to grow. Take care.
let go in order to grow.
Bye.
Bye.